Bruce Lee was more than a martial artist, he was a visionary who broke barriers and inspired millions. But behind the legend was also a father who deeply loved his children, Brandon and Shannon. Among them, Brandon Lee would grow up to carry the torch of his father's legacy, one built on discipline, artistry, and the pursuit of truth. As a child, Brandon watched his father train, teach, and act. Though Bruce passed away when Brandon was only 8 years old, the impression he left was unforgettable. Brandon inherited not only Bruce's physical talent but also his burning passion for martial arts and cinema. In his youth, Brandon struggled with being compared to his father. Wherever he went, he was known as Bruce Lee's son. But instead of living in the shadow, Brandon chose to create his own path. He studied acting, trained in martial arts, and pursued roles that would allow him to express his own identity. Brandon's breakthrough came with films like Rapid Fire and Showdown in Little Tokyo. But it was The Crow that cemented his name in cinema history. In it, he delivered a haunting and powerful performance, tragically, the role that became his last due to a fatal on-set accident in 1993. The story of Bruce and Brandon Lee is one of both triumph and tragedy. Both lives ended far too soon, but their legacies continue to inspire generations. Bruce taught the world about freedom of expression through martial arts, while Brandon taught us the courage to step out of a great shadow and still shine brightly. Together, father and son represent not just martial arts or film, but the idea that true legacy lives on through inspiration. Their names are forever linked, not just in history, but in the hearts of those who continue to follow their philosophy of strength, artistry, and authenticity. Bruce Lee was not only a martial arts icon but also a loving father. To the world, he was the Dragon, a pioneer who shattered stereotypes and revolutionized cinema. But at home, he was simply Dad, a man who cherished time with his son, Brandon, and daughter, Shannon. When Bruce passed away in 1973, Brandon was only 8 years old. Though their time together was brief, Bruce's influence became the foundation of Brandon's life. He remembered his father's discipline, his energy, and his philosophy of living authentically. These lessons would later guide Brandon as he walked his own path. Growing up, Brandon faced enormous pressure. Everyone expected him to be the next Bruce Lee, but he didn't want to just imitate his father, he wanted to honor him by becoming his own man. Brandon studied acting, theater, and martial arts, blending what he had inherited with his own creative spirit. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Brandon began carving out a career in Hollywood. He starred in Showdown in Little Tokyo and Rapid Fire, showcasing both his martial arts skill and his natural charisma. But it was his role in The Crow that would define his career. The film was dark, Po.